My name is Fred Dodson, and in this video I'd like to talk about the secret purpose of life on planet Earth. People go on and on about changing the world, making the world a better place, but that's really missing the whole point of why you're here. It's not the world that needs to get better, it's you. It's not the world that needs changing, it's you. The world is perfect as it is. For its purpose, for what it's supposed to do, it is absolutely perfect and should not be any different. If it should be different than it is, it would have been different. People have been trying to change the world for thousands of years, and nonetheless, it has always remained a perfect balance of pain and pleasure, a perfect balance of light and darkness, a perfect balance of good and not so good. And that was true 10,000 years ago, that was true 5,000 years ago, 500 years ago, 100 years ago, and it's still true today. And people ask, why is Earth's history so full of negative events? Why are humans so troubled? And so they set out and try to create a perfect world, a utopia, but that's not really what the Earth was made for. The Earth was made from love to be a place where low consciousness beings can evolve into higher consciousness. That's the purpose of this planet. That's what the world is about. It's a place where you can come and you can develop and grow in consciousness levels. If this were a utopia, if this were a perfect world where everything is well and good, you wouldn't have the opportunity to do that. So the fact that the world is both good and bad gives you the opportunity and the choice to find out what exactly is good and bad, what exactly helps your consciousness grow and evolve, and to practice your free will and your beautiful mind and spirit, as well as your ego, to figure it out by yourself. And if this world were perfect, you could not play the game. There would be no game, there would be no school, there would be no training. In this sense, Earth is like a training school, or like an acting school, like a theater stage where you also learn to grow in consciousness. The purpose of this planet is not to live happily ever after and blissfully ever after. It's to live happily and blissfully ever after once you've made the right choices, once you've ascended in consciousness, once you've learned the right lessons. So all the bad things that happen to you happen as a reflection of your vibration, of who you are, with the purpose to help you choose better vibrations so that you attract better things. If this place were a utopia and already enlightened, there would be nowhere low consciousness beings could go. You see, within the universe as a whole, there's many places you can go. And if you wanted an enlightened place, you would have gone elsewhere. There's many realms, dimensions, planets you could have chosen, but you chose this one in specific because there's a lot to learn here. It's a beautiful, perfect training. Everything that happens here belongs. Everything that happens is supposed to happen. Everything happens at just the right time and just the right place. There's no injustice whatsoever. Now that's a provocative thing to say, so I'll say it again. There is no injustice in the world. The way it's going is the way it's supposed to be going. And that's a very dangerous thing to say in this world. That's part of the game too, and I stand by the statement. At a higher level of consciousness, you realize that both the negative and the positive, which this world is all about, is perfect as it is. So a lower level of consciousness is a perfect lower level of consciousness. Everything that happens as a reflection of your level of energy, your vibration, which is magnetic to certain events. So while the world does not have to change, you can change. You can ascend in consciousness, and by doing so, you'll experience a different world. As an example, 3 people go to visit Los Angeles, and one person says, "Oh, it's such a sad and lonely and desperate place. Horrible. Everybody's unemployed or trying to get jobs in film, and there's just too many lonely and depressed people there." And another person says, well, it's a stressful place. It's just crowded, and there's always traffic jams, and it takes forever to get anywhere. And another says, well, Los Angeles is one of the most friendly and sunny and ever so peaceful, calm, and loving places I've ever been. The mood of the people is just sunny, and they're so kind. People in Los Angeles are really, really kind. So you see, 3 people, 3 different experiences. These 3 people are viewing the same world from 3 different levels of energy. They experience 3 different worlds, even though they're in the same place. And this is how you know that it's not the world that needs changing, it is you. Once you ascend to a higher level, you're going to attract different type of people, different events, and different places. And then it's not even about the places, the people, and the events. It's merely about who you are, what you're radiating. And on planet Earth, you can experience any vibration from all the way down at the bottom to all the way to the top. You can experience heaven or hell on Earth. Every variation is possible and present on Earth. That's the beauty of it. people put so much effort into trying to change the external world, they could experience a different world by changing themselves. You think that the 8 o'clock news reflects what's happening in the world, what's going on in the world? People keep asking me, well, how do you keep abreast of what's happening in the world if you don't watch the news? Gotta know what's happening. And all I can say to that is that's not what is happening for me. One of the strange facts of my life is that disaster has always been elsewhere. And I believe that is not a coincidence. My life is free of stress, fear, anger, shame, guilt, and all those other negative energy fields that magnetically attract negative events. Now, I don't blame the victims for what happens to them. Most of these victims are unconscious of what they're radiating. They haven't been taught reality creation. They haven't been taught anything about consciousness. So I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying that it's no coincidence. Okay? There are no coincidences in the world. And I know it sounds harsh if I say there's no injustice in the world. Okay? But I say so with the aim to wake people up, to take responsibility, and to look within. activism, trying to fix things that are broken, or trying to resist them, or trying to affect political change. This whole politics thing is a scam, you see. The entire political arena is based on the idea that you got to do certain things in the external world, and that's going to fix everybody's lives. And that's what they've been trying to do for thousands of years. Has it ever worked? No. Will it work in 500 years? No. No matter how many new political ideas, political movements, new elections, a new leader, none of that is going to fix it. Now, I'm not saying the world cannot get better. The world can get better, and it actually is getting better. The overall level of energy, level of vibration on the planet is in fact increasing, and that goes along with much higher literacy, much lower illness, death rates, higher education, much higher overall wealth for everyone. That is actually happening. The world actually is getting better, but not because of all the activists and activism and actionism and doing this. It's getting better because more and more people understand that they have to be the change they want to see in the world. And the more people understand that, the more enlightened the world will in fact get. But again, that wasn't necessarily the purpose of the world to begin with. It was the purpose that everybody eventually gets enlightened, but for that there had to be some challenge, some trouble in the world, because you can only choose and exercise your free will if there are options to descend or options to ascend. So focus on the qualities you wish to be, not on stuff you want to have or do. Certain qualities you wish to be, and if you focus on them, you're going to attract accordingly into your life. And just like my life, your life is going to be full of serenity and peace and fun and joy. Eventually become what you put your attention to. You become what you admire. You become what you appreciate. You become what you value. It's all different words for the same thing. The most intense word is probably you become what you revere. Reverence, that which you revere. So if you're focused on trouble and disaster and terrorist attacks and war all the time, it's because you actually revere that. Otherwise you wouldn't be looking at it all the time. You would be so fascinated by that. Something you can admit to yourself. And as a consequence of the fact that you revere that, you appreciate that, you give it attention, you're going to experience accordingly in your life. That which you choose to give attention to, take responsibility for it. So if I say there's no injustice in the world, people sometimes get indignant or angry, or they protest. But how could it be any different if you live in a friendly universe? If the universe was created with love for good intention, then everything that happens within it is based on that good intention, based on that love. The only way what I say isn't true is if you're in fact living in an unfriendly universe, an evil universe. And if you believe that, guess what you're going to experience? Don't expect the world to provide for you. Provide what you seek in the world to yourself. Give it to yourself. Okay, so if you seek approval, give it to yourself. You seek a sense of being abundant, give that sense, that feeling to yourself using your imagination. And then, having given it to yourself, you can share it with the world if you like.